You're listening to the Business of Medicine podcast created by Mirazi. We are a medical co-working space located in Upper Hill, the heartbeat of healthcare in Nairobi.
Welcome back to the Business of Medicine podcast. And remember here, our only job is to tell, share, and preserve stories within the healthcare industry space, because over time we realized that there were so many people building amazing careers and creating amazing businesses, and we didn't want to keep all of that to ourselves, so we decided to share it with you guys. Today, on this episode, we have a friend, a lady, an entrepreneur. I'll let her also introduce herself, Dr. Diana Okello Maranya.
Yes.
Tell us who you are.
Hi, JP. Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for having me. I'm Diana. I'm a pediatric dentist. I'm married, and I'm one of the co-founders of Riverdale. We're 5 years old. Actually, we just turned 5 years old. And thank God for that.
Happy
It's not been
birthday.
easy. Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations.
Surviving COVID, elections, and motherhood. But yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Okay, karibu sana. So the way we kind of structured the podcast is that every episode we tend to have a theme for the person who is on the episode. And when we were planning the podcast, we had there were supposed to be episodes that were just a woman, another one for entrepreneur, researcher. You wear many hats that cut across all those specific areas. But we would like to, kind of just go into your entrepreneurial journey and where that started, things of that nature. Now, I've known you a long time, since primary school, but we're not going to start there because I'm going to embarrass you. So fast forward a little, Kianda, right?
Yeah.
Straight A's.
Yeah.
And then straight for you.
Yeah, okay. All A's. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all
Okay.
A's.
And then
4 A's, 4 A minuses.
Oh, look at you. Okay. And then dentistry, UON.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
yeah.
Moi.
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 Okay.
Moi.
Moi. Yes.
So dentistry was not even direct. I wanted to do medicine. And then, 4 A's, 4 A minuses was not enough. I think I missed it by 0.4 to do it the regular way. And then I was called for quantity survey, which wasn't that bad. It was my second choice. We had a family friend who was very much into buildings, and my dad is an engineer. So I was like, not so bad. But when I went to UON to change the courses, the lady was like, you know what, you should do dentistry, because if you like people and you like healthcare, why not? Moi has started a dental school and you have enough points, so why not? So here I was, a person who has never been in boarding school, never been away from home, never been to Eldoret. And then I changed. I did the joint admission board changing officially, and I was called for for dentistry, BDS.
Okay.
So that was a journey. Yeah, that was a journey. I think adjusting from being, being at home, being in a day school, to living, having roommates, being disciplined, reading. I mean, it was hard. So actually my business journey started in Moi. That was the first time I started. I thought, I can't really say I thought, let me start a business. So we started an EDM company. EDM, electronic dance music. Because no one was doing it in LD. You're trying to see, okay, Nairobi has all these clubs and so we thought, let's start. We had a friend of ours who was a DJ, also in med school. Hi, Juma. And another friend. So we were four. We were four of us, plus my husband somewhere. Okay, at that time, my boyfriend.
Yeah.
So, sorry. We started the company. Now that's where we start learning about a company. We started a group, but we hadn't registered it yet as a company. And then we started throwing parties and charging for it. So that was our first business, and I paid for it academically. Unfortunately, because there was no time to read. There was no time to read. we were always just organizing these things and selling. And getting DJs from Nairobi to come to Eldoret and all that. So that really like messed with my time and my balance. And I paid for it, in medical school, when you pay for it, you lose time.
Yeah.
Did you make money?
Pardon?
Did you make money?
Yes, we made money. Imagine our first event.
Yeah.
We made a profit of 25,000.
Oh, wow.
And we split it. I remember like dividing that money, and it felt really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then that's when that was the beginning of figuring out that, hey, we need some structure to do that, because you'd find that maybe one person feels like they're putting in more time or more energy, or if you're the DJ, you're the one who's mixing like the whole night. So how do you find that balance? And that was the beginning of our brush with a lawyer, not in a bad way, actually just getting the information that, you know what, you guys should have an agreement, you should have a name, you should, register the name. But I was going into my final clinical years, 4th and 5th, and these guys were leaving me behind. They were finishing school, and they're going into internship, and I just felt I wasn't able to balance that.
Yeah.
So it was hard, but I just took a step back because I needed to finish school, and actually I focused and did very well and finished, and went for my internship at Memorial, which is now again interacted. I was like, maybe this military stuff is not so bad. And then I got married and got pregnant, and I was told, you can't join the military when you're pregnant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't, because you have to go for training for, I think, 18 months, and you can't be pregnant during that time.
Okay.
Yeah, so, well, that ended. But I had done an elective there, so I already liked the whole structure of military,
Discipline.
which I think really, and discipline.
To like Yanda.
Yeah, like
Yeah, really tries.
And maybe like my character, because I'm very like structured. I don't have, it's black or white. I'm struggling with grays. But then after that, the strike happened. That was...
This is 2017?
Yeah, 2017, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, almost. Was it?
It wasn't 2017.
No.
It
No,
was,
not 2017. It was 2018. I was starting master's.
Yeah,
Before that.
it was, I think, 2016.
Okay, almost 10 years ago. Let's say almost 10 years ago. And, you're there law coming, and it was hard. It was hard with that uncertainty. So we came together. By that time, I was already married. I got married in internship with a group of friends. And like, let's start something that's our own, something we can grow. I can't say we were very sure what we wanted to do, because the ideas kept changing. We thought, okay, let's do an outpatient. But people are already there. There's these big brands. Let's do a specialist clinic. We're not specialists. So let's do, it was all over the place. So it started out with first dentists, and then changed, maybe not everyone is buying into your idea. Then we finally settled into the group that we are in.
Tell me, and that's the part I'm interested in. So you mentioned Samora, your husband.
Yeah.
I understand he's one of the directors at Riverdale.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 other people.
Yeah.
I'd like to know, like, why did you pick this? You're 4,
Yeah,
right?
we are 4.
Yeah, so why did you pick these 4 people? There are those team dynamics that must have been there. I don't know if there are some who fell off or not. Sometimes happens in business. Yeah. But why? Why did you pick these 4? What made them special?
So I think starting a business is like getting into a relationship and preparing for marriage.
Absolutely.
Because it's legal. There'll be a document guiding that interaction. And I think if you don't have that trust and, understanding of each other, it may not work. So there are people that fell off even before we started. Like, people will always meet and talk and dream and everything. And then when it's like, okay, guys, we need to maybe deposit money, or we need to, formalize these meetings, then, people started dropping off. So why them? So, well, Samora is my husband. So I already love, trust, and know him. And Andrew was our best man.
Really?
So I guess the same goes for Samora and Andrew in terms of love, trust, and know each other. They knew each other. They were classmates in med school.
Okay.
And Lawrence was my classmate. So he's our other director. So, and a friend, I think it's so important to just trust each other and just know that, what, when I'm not there and this other person is there, they are making the right decisions.
So it's a level of camaraderie and friendship,
Yes.
Okay, but that builds up to the trust.
Yes, to the trust.
So when did you start Riverdale?
So Riverdale is our trading name. So the company, we started it in 2017, meaning we registered. We're like, guys, we can't just be sitting down in Java and talking every Friday. And
I
remember,
always Java.
I don't know why. It's always Java. It's affordable. But you'd sit with your one coffee or your water for hours and go over what you envision and why it'll be different. And, you're in your 20s, you have no money. I don't know why we really thought, Anyway, I think you have to have some level of, craziness and, to start business. So we registered. Now, that was the first step. The first step was, okay, now we have to contribute 5,000 because we need to pay the lawyer to register. There was no e-citizen. Right now, you can do it by yourself. But we had to pay a lawyer to do it for us. So everybody, you bring your 5,000. That was the first point of some people falling off. Because even that 5,000 was hard to put to the, to make things formal. So that was 2017. So for 2 years, there was a lot of dreaming, just sitting, meeting and dreaming very expensive dreams and not knowing how we'll fund or whatever we were going to do. So eventually we came up with a budget. Now it was clear. Okay, you know what? Let's start an outpatient with a dental because we are 2 doctors and dentists. So why not? Let's start that. So as we're doing all that legal stuff, we came up with an agreement, which I learned from my undergraduate business. Came up with an agreement with a lawyer. We were agreeable. And we formalized it. We just formalized it. And then the next step was now to look for money and see, okay, now you start finding out suppliers are expensive. It's not easy. Healthcare is so capital intensive. It's so capital intensive. And that's now how everyone took loans. Okay, we came up with a budget. This is what we need.
What was the budget?
And everything. It was more than 10 million.
Okay.
It was more than 10 million. And there was a lot we had left out. A lot. Like that was what we were thinking it will cost us. You're putting down, reception desk, reception chairs, maybe dental units. You're putting down all that, have money. But maybe you didn't think about, I need to pay for clearance, for shipment. All these things that we're importing, how are we going to clear it? Or the fit out, we were talking about that. How much will that cost? Or your down payment for wherever, we had no location. Okay, so at that time, we have a budget. We had no location. We didn't even have a company bank account. But we had this big budget.
An Excel spreadsheet.
So yes, on an Excel spreadsheet, yes. And we always used to print it out before every meeting and see how we can reduce it, because every time things were becoming real, maybe someone would drop out. We were not always 4, by the way. There were many more people who we thought would join us. Yeah, and then now when it became serious, now everybody had to look for money. Yeah. So after the first 5,000, the next thing was I think it was like 20,000. We needed to pay someone to come up with a logo.
You started with the logo.
We had a logo. We had even company colors. We had no location. We had no money. But somehow we were even looking for spaces. We were driving around with Samora and looking for office spaces. Yeah. With no money.
With no money.
Yeah.
So how did you settle in Lavington?
Again, Lavington was not really option one. We knew we wanted to be niche in just like a boutique type of setup, because that was what was now lacking. What we noticed in the industry was everything was very the big corporations that I don't have to name, but like it was very structured, cold, companies, corporates. So we wanted something warm, something family-centered. By that time, when we officially opened our doors, I'd just had our second baby. So he was born in January and we opened on May 1st. And I started my master's in September.
Oof.
So it was a heavy year, 2019. But so we just knew we wanted a niche place. It wasn't always Lavington. We had checked so many other places. There were so many barriers, like money. But like track record, they're like, who are these people? Which company? You're not known by anybody. And then, we found this place online. So there were many rejections on very many, like very funny things. Like one, and I'm not even going to lie, that it was because I was a woman.
What?
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the negotiation was because I'm the only one of four. I'm the only woman. So the four are being talked. The three at that time. Okay, we were never ever going like as a group, but let's say it happened that we are more than just the two of us, which is me and Samora. It was like, I'm here, but it was like, so this is what we're going to do, and this is the agreement, and you're just there. And actually, that was the first one I rejected myself. I'm sorry, it was because of pride. I just felt, no.
No, but I agree with you 100%. And I see that happening in many places whereby in a room full of men, then there's a lady. Somehow the conversation just goes...
It just goes
over you. Unless someone actually cues you in. If you're in the right team, then they'll always cue you in, or they tell the other members that, hey, by the way, that's the boss. So you should be addressing her.
But I liked that. Initially it hurt my feelings or... Oh, no, not my feelings. Maybe it bruised my ego. But then it became good. Because then you are in this space where everybody is like ignoring you. And then you see the real, can you see like the real colors of that person?
Yeah.
Then you can decide whether you want to trade with them or not. But that was after we started trading. We were not trading at that point. But then you realize that it's business. Like, you also want my money. Wherever you're going, it's a trade. So we don't have to trade. If you don't respect women or you have some idea about women, then we don't have to trade.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now...
But that's now. At that point, there were tears. You leave that meeting and you're like, why?
Yeah.
Do I have to enter and say yes? And I am. Yeah, no. Like now, you don't even have to say Dr. Why I'm Diana. I know I'm a doctor. The title doesn't like define me.
Yeah.
But it helps you see people before you come in and put your title. Then you just see people for who they are.
So
including our employees. We'll get to that.
We've gathered that on paper you started in 2017, but conversations had started before that.
No, on paper 2017, opening doors 2019. Yeah.
All right. And then 2020 comes.
Yes.
First of all, 2019, for context, 2019 you open, you registered in 2019, you open your doors May 1st. You had your son
January. And then masters.
Then masters the same year, September.
2019.
And then 2020 starts.
Yes, and I was the only student in masters.
UON, right?
Yeah, UON.
Okay.
So went on to do pediatric dentistry. And then we joined, how many? We joined two. We joined 2 or 3. And then the others just left. One left, one deferred. So I was alone in class, trying to handle a business, run a business. You have a baby. Anyway, it was hard. And then COVID. Yeah, then COVID. COVID was hard. It was really hard. But we pivoted. So that's when, we were trying to think, how are we going to survive? There were a lot of uncertainties in dentistry because of infection control, and we are like in the mouth. So at that point, remember now, starting an outpatient, we are doing everything. It won't just be now just me focusing on dental. So we started this home baby vaccination service.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And it was, I can't remember how I thought it through, but we just noticed there was a decline in moms bringing their babies for vaccination because of fear, especially the 6 weeks and 10 weeks vaccine. So that's when it started. And that kept us afloat, that particular service. So it just helped us pivot. And kept us afloat. Now, dental went down. Let me tell you, everything went down because people were not coming in. We were having patients with COVID coming in. We are not, you don't even, we no one knew anything about COVID at that time. But the Well Baby service helped us helped the business.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's making a lot of sense to me now because, like you've said, your value proposition, so to speak, was that you were boutique, family and oriented, niche, nice place. And when I worked there briefly, I think that was probably towards the end of 2019, maybe early 2020.
It was just before COVID.
Just before COVID or in and around COVID. When I came to the place the first time, the thing that caught my eye was how much, one, attention to detail and the quality of the things that you guys had brought in. Like if it was, kind of top of the range stuff and, very high quality, was that a priority from the get-go? Or was it just in line with the value proposition? Or was it that a conscious decision? Because most people were like, I'm not spending this much money on this. But I feel like you guys decided, quality and, longevity. So what was the decision making around the quality of the stuff that you guys are bringing in for this space?
I think having that background in medicine, the other directors, and dentistry, so you already know the good things in the industry. However, when it comes to, it's something we've been told, like from the beginning, it's so clean, it's so nice, the clinic. We didn't have an interior. The interior designers, the creator, we didn't have that. We didn't have an architect. We couldn't afford. So maybe if we had money, we could have. So quality, I can't really say it was key. A lot of it was being driven by money. But, you don't need the most expensive thing to look good. You don't need it. You don't need the most expensive thing. That's number one. Number two, we really looked at, if it's equipment you're talking about, can it serve us? Which for most of it is serving us even to date. So contrary to what many people think about China, because at that time we imported from China, we then realized all these big brands that are selling here are just selling us Chinese brands. So I'm not anti-China. The equipment has served us and is continuing to serve. Okay, some things we've upgraded. So it was more like a simplistic, a clean approach. Maybe that's what appeals to people, that it's not overdone. It's just simple.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just simple. So it wasn't something that was like guiding our decision making. As dentists, we were thinking, okay, can the unit do this? Can we take an X-ray? Yes, no. The medics, they were just thinking, okay, do we have an otoscope, a stethoscope? Small things that you take for granted in your practice. And we started, maybe looking back, we did buy some equipment that we had to dispose of because we did use it. But you can't know that until you start. You might not know that, this department might not pick, and I've invested so much in this department and it hasn't picked. So let's dispose of that asset.
Okay. Sorry, I have to take you back a bit. There's the part where you mentioned, I'm finding this 2019 here particularly interesting. And for some of our viewers who are listening to you or watching you, one question of interest would be, how did you do it? In that 1 year, you had so many balls to juggle.
Yeah.
What's the advice that you would give for that 1 year in terms of starting a business, growing your family and starting school all at the same time? What do you think helped you?
Oh my God, I know this will sound so bad, but just marry right. Like just your partner. I mean, he's my business partner. He's my life partner. He's very supportive, and he had started masters 1 year before me. So at that point, it looked wrong, right? It looked like how are you going to? So he's in school. He's left his permanent job because he was in a private hospital. Had to leave it. So part of also Riverdale, we were thinking if in school, our other partner had just finished masters. So if we're going to sustain ourselves during this, during masters, then why not have a practice? Practice as general practitioners. Like I know I look back and think, wow, we were really brave. But he was very supportive, very, very supportive. Even when it came to school, he told me it's time. He went to school, he did a 5-year master's, he did orthopedic surgery. So he's like, it's time. There's never going to be a perfect time.
True.
Never. There will always be something. I mean, if we waited, then there would be COVID.
Yes.
Then it would be like, oh, we need to recover the business from COVID. But we already have a child. There will always be something.
Elections.
Yeah, then elections. Then I don't know the dollar. Then I woke up on the wrong side of bed. I don't know. There's always floods.
I know.
There'll always be something. So he was very supportive. And it was just a balance. He helped me out with the children. As crazy as it sounds, we both published in our final years.
Oh, fantastic.
Because he helped me. He inspired me. Yeah. So I think having the right partner having the right partner will definitely propel you personally and professionally. Well, they should.
That's not a bad answer, by the way. I once read somewhere that the most important decision you'll ever make in your life is the partner you choose.
Yeah.
So I think that's a perfect answer. Wow. I'd like to meet him. I've never met him. I'd like to meet him.
Pick me up. He's amazing. And I met him in high school.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not too many stories like that.
Yeah.
So you weathered the storm that was COVID
Yes.
by pivoting with the vaccines.
Yeah.
And then after that, at what point were you breaking, let's say, even? And at what point did you now enter this phase for growth?
I'm not sure, because I think when you're ambitious and driven, you're always trying to go to the next stage. So there's been a lot of also reinvesting. It's not a perfect picture, by the way. It's not a perfect picture. You'll always have, suppliers you owe, people you owe money, but that's business. I mean, if you don't, I think they always say, if you don't take a loan, don't take a loan to pay off a debt, but if you take a loan to invest, then why not? So things on your financial statements might not look the best, but you're moving forward. Your doors are open. You're trading. And I think it's what people consider success in business. I think for as long as your doors are open, you're trading and you're surviving of your business, then yeah, I think so. I don't know. Just you can rephrase, because I know about growth. Right now, it's like another phase of growth that we are getting into. So there's been a lot of reinvesting into the business.
There used to be this trend on social media. I don't know if it's still there these days, but it was about how I found out my friends are rich. So people would give these ridiculous stories about how they found out that the person they knew was like extremely super rich. Out of one thing they saw, one thing they did, that kind of thing. So the day I was driving in Kilimani, right? And I saw these advertisements for Riverdale Clinic. Those ones they put on the lamp.
I saw those too,
My friends are rich.
I know.
So you guys, you did a lot of marketing. And I'm sure that came at a cost. Yes. And what was your journey through that?
Through marketing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And like to add on to that, like marketing doesn't pay immediately. And I think normally when you're seated in those meetings, when you're deciding the marketing budget, one of the biggest issue normally is that normally good marketing is expensive.
Yeah.
And good marketing does not pay immediately. It pays like months, years down the line. So that marketing you did at that time, is it paying yet? Or has it paid yet? Or have you started seeing like the effects of it?
It does, because the doors are open. The doors are open, the lights are on. But marketing has been another journey, and I think starting a business, you just have to have many things you're good at that you will discover along the way. You'll not start off by saying, you know what, I'm actually good at this, let me do it. Like when it comes to the social media. So at that point, that was one of the budgets we forgot about. On that Excel, all those Excels we had, we never put marketing because we thought we build, they'll come. We are healthcare providers. We'll see patients. But we didn't have that. So that's when now social media came in. At that point, I think Instagram was still new, and social media marketing was not clear. Right now it's very clear, like in partnership with. Before then, it was subtle. So we had to think, okay, what's the most affordable way to get our brand out there as a brand, which I think for me is so important. Not even just the marketing things, but it's like the brand, which is, how do people feel when you say Riverdale? How do they feel? You might not have 1,000 clients, but when you say the name, what do people feel about that? So that was very important to me. Maybe it was not important to the other directors, but it was important later. And I didn't know, that is branding, or that is marketing, or that is content creation. I didn't know those terms at that point. But imagine we just started working on the content, and marketing is important. You have to take a part of your budget and put it back into marketing, always, whatever that looks like, whatever it looks like. The road signs was a new thing for us. We've never done road signs. We did that for maybe about 6 months just to test,
get a feel,
and it worked for some services. For example, for my service as a pediatric dentist, I think many people would see and be like, that's I didn't even know there was such a specialty. Yeah, so it helped. For other services, it didn't. So we'd always have someone trying to track, like, okay, where did this patient come from? Did they see something online? Did they see a sign?
Yeah.
Did they? Yeah. So we were trying to track to see what, and I think we're still learning. I can't say we're there.
It's a cycle of experimentation. Yeah. There's a time I met Andrew, one of your directors, in the club. Yes, I'm exposing. And we were having a drink, and I was telling him I was so stressed about marketing and getting the name out there. And he told me that one of the things that really worked for Riverdale was just simply going to printed press. And he told me that had converted pretty well for you guys. Yeah. So how did that come about? Because it's not the first thing we think about. Let me put this in the newspaper. At least these days in 2024.
Okay. So again, I don't know if everything in business, and we're really trying to shift our mindset from being co-founders to being like more executive, directors, where you make tougher decisions. Most of the things that have been happening were not maybe conscious efforts. They maybe came to us, maybe a TV interview or a newspaper article. It wasn't maybe looked for. I can't say, because we've also been really, as I said, we were in school, we were doing masters. The truth is, out there for registrars, is it's hard. Like, your consultants do not want to see you, putting yourself out there. First, you're not yet a specialist at that time. You will be, but at that time you're not. So we were not, it wasn't conscious. So let me just say on traditional media, a lot of the opportunities came to us. Someone just reaches out and an opinion piece, or do you want a feature. It wasn't out there because we was, for the longest time, I'm 2 years post my master's, and there's still some form of, imposter syndrome. Like, do I really want to come out there and say I'm a pediatric dentist because of the trauma of masters? Yeah. But so I wouldn't say we looked for it. Okay. Maybe social media is more, is it purposeful? Is that the word? Yeah. Like, we were more intentional. About social media. Now the rest, because it's free. It's free. All you need to do is just have a nice post, know how to use Canva, and put up a post. And and we had 2 really good creatives that we worked with who are actually family.
Okay. Yeah. I want to find out a bit more outside of the marketing now when it comes to the team dynamics. So you mentioned that you and Samora were in school at the same around the same time. Yeah. And then one of the other directors had completed. I want to say it's Andrew.
Andrew, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where the other one was, yeah?
He was in school with me. Now he's a dentist.
Oh.
Yeah. So we were all in
3 of you. No, I'm saying like when Riverdale was starting.
He was there. The 4th one was there when we were starting.
No, I'm asking like in terms of postgraduate.
Oh, no, at that point. So right now he's in postgrad.
Okay.
So at that time he was a general dentist.
Good. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to understand about the team dynamics. Because you and Samora in school, you and Samora, I know about you and Samora, like you have family and whatnot, yeah? And all these guys also have their own thing going on. Now, in terms of team dynamics, did you have set roles that everyone kept to? Or how did you cover everything? Because I know there are times like you were needed in school and needed at Riverdale at the same exact time. What happens?
Wow. Yeah. I think, sorry. Part of being a team is teamwork. But yes, we did have roles, broad strokes. I can't say, I mean, we have a piece of paper that guides those roles. But I think when you're a co-founder, if one person drops the ball, you have to pick it up. You can't like point, forever and say, you dropped the ball, okay, fine. The ball has been dropped. Pick it up, keep moving. So there was a lot of juggling acts in school because our other director is not in town. He's in another town. So there's a lot of juggling, like maybe calling Drew to do something when that's needed, calling so-and-so to sign something that's needed. So just learning to work together. But when it comes to maybe the roles, maybe as you're maybe trying to hint like, okay, we are married, we're in a team, but we are married as well. I don't know. It just works so well. He lets me lead, I guess. He lets me lead. It's not a power dynamic. When we are there trying to make decisions, you all know you're trying to make decisions for the better, for the better of the company. So it's not like a power play of any sort. Yeah. But if you notice someone is dropping the ball, you just pick it up and keep moving. Yeah.
Okay. Outside the expansion, because we'll get to that.
Yeah.
What has been the highest point during this whole process for you guys, either individually or as the business? That moment you said, sour.
Yeah, doing something right.
Maybe for me, I don't know what the other directors would say, but for me, I think the highest was getting a loan. Getting a loan was the highest. I mean, we see patients, we have all types of drama from, suppliers to employees, but getting a loan, because it's so weird. It's like a loan from our institutions here is like some form of validation that your business makes sense.
Absolutely.
Because the number of documents you submit to get financing and, banks are not there to, they're not there to give you business advice. They're there to make money off your, I don't know, whatever idea you have. So I think for me, that was like, wow, okay. I think it makes, whatever we are doing, makes sense somehow. For some external people who have gone to school for many years to learn finance and accounting and everything, and they've looked and said, these guys, let's take a chance on them and see where this funding will take them. I'm still not sure. Maybe in another number of years, I'll look back and wonder where that was the best decision. But I think for me, it was a high, because it has taken so long to get funding for us to think about the expansion and all that. It took months of going to institutions and them looking through your papers and saying, okay, asset, what's your security? All those questions that they ask you. So when we finally got it, for me, that was like, makes sense. And that was just the beginning. That was like that. I don't even know why that was my high.
Yeah.
But the first debit was my low.
Yeah.
Let me ask you now, just there again, there are guys who are watching this and they want to know what is required to get money from a financial institution. Like, how many years do you have to be running? What kind of figures do you need to be running through your account? And like, basically, how many documents do you need? Those things, the details of it, if you're able to share that with us.
Yeah. I think for most, it's public knowledge, because you can just walk into any bank and ask them, or financial institution. So I think the first thing is just try and keep your books in order. it might sound expensive. You can outsource that function. You can have someone come into your clinic once a month, do your books for you. Just make sure your books are clean and are audited, because most of them would want audited books. That's number one. Number two, just make sure you're structured. Like you have your documents, your CR12, your KRA, all those, standard documents. A CR12 is like your ID card for your company. So at least your basic things are there about your company. In terms of your turnover, they look at your turnover depending on how much you're asking. So there are a lot of institutions that still require some form of security, either a car, land, and then you're looking like you're asking for money because you need money, and then they want you to have money that they can give you money. I mean, like, if I had that money, why would I be asking for money? However, you might not have enough of your money to do whatever it is that you want to do, and just keep going. Keep just don't accept the no's. Yeah, there'll be a yes. There'll be a yes somewhere. There'll be a yes. It'll be a SACCO somewhere. It'll be the bank. It'll be some bank manager that looks at you and thinks, okay, these guys, they're professional. They sound like they know what they're doing. So yeah, just don't accept the no's. You'll get a yes.
Again, this is a debate I've had with colleagues in the healthcare space. Do you think there are institutions which are more, quote unquote, friendly to healthcare businesses?
They are all cold. Yeah, they're all cold because they all have a checklist. They all have a checklist. It's not personal. I think I also learned with all the no's, there's so many no's over these 5 years, is that it's not personal. By the person who you're interacting with, maybe will just tell you no with a smile. But it's not personal. So you just have to tell yourself, you know what, the business is just not there yet. But with time,
we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Good.
So in terms of organizing, no, they all have a checklist. They all have a checklist. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you guys ever try or think about, like, I'm assuming this loan was from a bank.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever think about or try like private equity or venture capital kind of funding?
I
Have
think
you thought
with
about it?
funding and, and the like, you just have to know the timing, so that you don't lose so much of your business too early. Because some of these things, you don't know how your business will be in a year. Your turnover, you look like, whoa, we need money now. And then when you breathe in and out, you realize you need money because there's some supplier breathing down your neck. Are you going to let this person swoop in, either get shares or whatever arrangement you'll have with them because there's someone breathing down your neck? No. So I think it's the timing. Do I really have an opinion on that? I'm not sure, because it depends on the timing. So for us, it was not the time for that. It was not the time for that. There were discussions, there were approaches from different angles, but it's not yet. I don't think it's not yet there. To think about venture capitalists or PE funds. I think we do have colleagues who've gotten into that and it has helped them propel, but you also have to know, is the growth organic? These guys will come in with a lot of money. And for many of them, you end up working for the PE fund because, you have targets.
You have targets.
Yeah. However, if you feel the company is at the point where you need that so that you can become regional or you can become global, fine. Yeah.
Okay. The dark days.
Yeah. That was the next question.
Tell us about those.
The dark days.
Yeah.
I think the dark days, maybe when you disagree, as co-founders, as I said, trying to get our mind off it as co-founders. Because when you're a co-founder, you're very emotional. You're very attached to the business. Baby. Exactly. You cannot even think of PE funding. You cannot. I mean, how? I mean, you were not there when I was sweating and typing those Excel sheets. No. So mostly, I think the hardest part is when we don't agree on something, or we disagree, or someone has dropped the ball. So you're right to say dark days, because it's not one thing. It it's ups and downs, just like a relationship. Yeah, you'll be there, celebrating your highs. And when things are low, you get to see how you guys pick each other up during those low moments. So dark days, I think when, having to become legal with each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We had, one of our partners was exiting in some form. And, you feel like, you guys started with the same common vision. And then you feel so let down.
And your friends.
And your friends. So that was, that was not maybe the best time. But again, they say what? Vision. I don't know who has done of that. Those retrospect things. It's very clear when you look back and then you see in retrospect how things were. Maybe we were thinking so much as co-founders. Maybe sometimes you need to think as like an executive and just see what's the right decision for the company. Emotions aside, what is the right and the best decision for the company? Yeah. And that's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. It's okay to be emotional. I think when you're emotionally attached to your business, it helps you get through those, long nights,
days,
bank balances that read, not nice numbers and all that. But I think when you think as an executive, you remove the emotion. You remove the emotion. You just look at the performance. Yeah.
Looking back, while you were growing the business, I'm sure you guys made mistakes.
Yeah.
Guaranteed you made mistakes. Is there one memorable mistake like our listeners and viewers can learn from that? Something that you can think clearly and say, at this time, I think we would have done it better this way. Is there a specific example you can give us?
Yeah. I mean, follow your money. I mean, you have to see where your money is in the business. Having good financial statements, like just invest. There's so many people who've done some form, CPA accounts, become a friend, a colleague can recommend someone who can just come in and look at your books. Because there's a lot of things that happen that you might not pick because you're treating patients. Yeah, you're seeing patients. I think that's sometimes very hard when you're still practicing, that you don't have time to focus and see what's happening. People stole from us. I mean, those are some dark days. I mean, that was a dark day. Like the shareholder thing was maybe an emotional dark day. But like business-wise, people stole, contractors stole. Right. I mean, that's gone. When money has gone, because you find it out when you're doing your audit the next year. You're like, wait, what happened here? Okay, you collected revenue of this amount that didn't reach the bank. That person is long gone. You can't even pinpoint. So have processes, and follow your money. Just follow your money. See where the money is in the business. We recently found out that one of our staff members was playing around with a percentage profit in the pharmacy. So now when you find that out, the person is long gone. Now what do you do? So have processes and just follow your money. It's not a bad thing. I think if you start a business, at the end of the day, you need to know where things are.
It's a whole point.
Yeah.
It's the whole point of the business.
Okay. So, Ruaka, right?
Yeah, Kiambu Road.
Kiambu Road, yeah. The new branch.
Yeah.
How did you get there? Like, what was the decision? What was the rationale? Why Kiambu Road?
Why Kiambu Road?
Yeah. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's been what? How many weeks?
1 month.
1 month.
1 month.
Okay.
Yeah. We have just started processing the first payroll. 1 month. It was part of the expansion, the reason why we took the debt, because we just felt it was time to move maybe into a location that's more populated, younger population that would benefit, because I'm a pediatric dentist, so a younger group. And we had specialists as well that thought that would be a good place to set up a specialist clinic. So the model is slightly different. It's not a typical outpatient. So dental units and specialist clinics. And then a pharmacy, which we hope probably in 1 or 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So starting small, it's never perfect. I think as business owners, it's never perfect. You won't start the way maybe you envisioned. We had to, you were laughing about floods, but actually the clinic, is it called flooding? Okay, the clinic flooded twice. And it was when we had opened, because our first contractor messed up with some plumbing. So the nurse came in, the place is flooded. And that's twice in one month. We're like, make it flood with money. But anyway, like, but other than that, that was tough. Yeah. So that was, but it's going on well. I've seen patients somehow.
Yeah.
And I thank everyone who's trusting us there. Yeah. So that was one of the reasons we took funding.
Okay. It's a very nice, let me say, mushrooming area. There's one of my mentors who once told me that if your target market is, say, people in the middle class, for example, you follow the banks and you follow the fast food joints. So if you see a KFC opening up somewhere, if you see Chicken, you see Nando's, you see Equity Bank,
you're in the right place.
Because they've done all the research for you.
And I think that is the best advice. That is the best advice, because again, when we were starting out, we didn't do such market research. We didn't have money for market research. So you just see, okay, what's there?
Yeah.
What it feels, I just say a lot of these business books, it's just observation. It's just people who are just keen and have observed. Some of them are not even written by people who did like business courses. So yeah, we did notice that. It was good. And also you can follow where other people similar to you are. If there are other health facilities, if there are other clinics, it's not a bad thing. You can always learn to work together. I don't know. You can always learn to work together.
Okay. What else do you have in store for the future?
I think for the future right now, which is like an immediate thing, is our theatre, which was, we felt, okay, why not just leverage on our expertise? One of our directors is an anesthesiologist, Andrew. My husband is an orthopedic surgeon. And our other partner, Lawrence, is doing oral and maxillofacial surgery. Very surgically inclined team. Which, I think is inspiring this next move in terms of a day surgery. For me, I think we chatted about this. It's about the special healthcare needs, that gap on providing theatre services, dental services, and a GA for children who can't cooperate on the unit. I felt it was the one thing I wasn't able to complete in my care for children. You'll do everything right on the unit, but sometimes the child is just not able.
Okay. Sounds exciting.
Perhaps maybe just tell us just a little bit about the pediatric dentistry route and kind of how it's aligned, because there's a lot of work you're doing. I don't want to call it philanthropic. Maybe you can just tell us a little bit about that and the impact it's having.
Okay. Again, this is like businesses don't follow books. I didn't know it's called, it's CSR. I didn't know it had words like social impact. I didn't know that. For me, I picked pediatric dentistry. I knew I was going to do it from undergrad, from my fourth year when I had, I can't say I was allocated. When you're in undergrad as a dental student, you're allocated patients. So there was one patient who nobody wanted to treat, and it was a child who had Down syndrome. I'm not sure why people didn't want to treat her. I think maybe it was a lot of maybe fear, ignorance. You're a fourth year student. I don't know. But I took on that case, and it was, I think, it was one of the best things. That just charted my path. And I asked at that time, my supervisor, like, what path do I need to pick to be able to treat children with special healthcare needs? It was one lecture in fifth year. So it wasn't even clear. You just taught all the special healthcare needs lumped up in one lecture. And she said it's pediatric dentistry. And I just loved treating children. In fact, away from all the could I say politics of boardrooms and business and the stresses of contracts and all that, the joy is that child. I mean, that's like a break from the business. And I don't know if I would ever stop practicing to say, let me just focus on running the business. Because that's the break. Actually, treating children is the break. So we've partnered with a few organizations to offer, oral health services. and to do trainings to help them identify, at least the trainers, just to basic, oral disease identification, just basic, know when to refer and subsidize the care.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Sounds beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Diana. I mean, we could go on and on and on. You have stories. I mean, we could go on and on. What you guys are doing with Riverdale is amazing, and how far you've come in such a short time. And like we were saying earlier, there was COVID in there, those elections in there. There's even flooding. We were joking. I thought we were joking. And it's a true life experience,
True life
like you have gone through all of that and you're still surviving. I admire, actually, as a married man myself, I admire your partnership with your husband and how far you've come. But I don't think it's an easy thing running a business as husband and wife, because also personalities get in the way and whatnot. But you guys seem to have figured it out and it works for you. Mad props to you.
Thank
and
you.
Maybe you guys can start a class on that, a master class on couples with businesses. But you guys are doing an amazing job. Everyone I've met who's been to Riverdale have like mostly good things to say about Riverdale. So continue doing what you're doing, continue blazing that trail, and I hope you get to where you desire to be.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So guys, that was today. That was Dr. Diana from Riverdale, pediatric dentist, amongst many other things, but the managing director at Riverdale. You heard it here at Business of Medicine. Keep it locked for the next guest. Thank you.